Good morning, everybody in Pretoria. It is awesome to be here. We're excited for the month of August. I guess we're still technically in July, but we got a doozy coming up. So really excited to see how this whole thing pans out. And I look forward to hanging out with y'all in new ways, in new zones, and new exciting. I don't know, I'm just going to get into it. So first off, let's just start with a quick um, stand up, team stand up, and just see who's with us today, so you guys can, um, see who's here and what we're going to be doing. So I see it in the order of investigator, Weirdbeard, and Nate. So if you guys want to go in that order and just kind of tell us what you're going to be talking about, that'd be great.
Morning. I'm going to be talking about what's going out in the update tomorrow, and nothing beyond that. Anything beyond tomorrow, you're going to have to ask Weirdbeard. So, Weirdbeard.
Today, I'm going to be talking about Land 1.5 release date. I'm also going to be talking about the success of the modern bot ban implementation and some of our community information that we've gathered about that.
And Nate.
Yeah, we're just probably follow up with what Weirdbeard says, whatever you want to talk about, but I'm sure it's going to center around land.
Yeah, it seems like there's a confluence around Pretoria that is coming soon, so we should talk about that. But in true Splinterlands style, we're going to go tease that thing, and we're going to go jump to something else real quick. So we got a guy from is it Avax or Ajax? I forget. Ajax, right? Guy from Ajax?
Right.
Yeah, sorry, I just learned the handle this morning. But we got a guy from Ajax here, and he's got a website that we wanted to kind of show you because it's pretty handy, pretty useful. And some of you guys, some of you like stats. I don't know if everybody here likes stats, but there's some of you that are like super nerds and love all the stats and details and numbers and like to track all this stuff. These guys have built a site that helps you do that. So why don't you tell us who you are, what you do, and give us a little bit more detail on the site than what I just shared.
Of course. Hey, everyone. Thanks for having me. I'm Guy from Ajax. That's my in-game name. And I kind of in my normal life, I have a like a Web3 development partner, and he and I do a lot of work for a number of different established brands. We've actually built a game for Bud Light in the NFL last year. We've worked with some other folks, but we also do some things on the side. And one thing is the Splinter Coach tool that we launched. And just a little context on that. I've been playing Splinterlands for about 15 months now. I started in February or March of 2022. And one thing I noticed, there's a lot of really like cool resources around the tokenomics of the game and the values of different assets and everything else. But I kind of noticed, or kind of, personally, I really wanted a tool that gave me better insights into how I was playing the game personally, and specifically with stats around cards. And so my development partner and I just decided to build this tool. And so this is a tool where folks can come, they can connect their Hive wallet with their Hive keychain, and then that's their posting key, etc. And then what it'll do is it'll track your personal wins and losses with every card in the game, which for kind of like a stat geek like me, it's super exciting.
It's not just wins and losses though, right? Like it's actually getting into kind of detailed, like the wins and losses is really just the starting point. It kind of gets, it'll satisfy the nerd in all of these guys because it's really like individualized per card, right?
Correct. Yeah, I can do a little demo here. When you join the site, it will automatically queue up your lifetime record with every summoner that you play with, but then you can begin to get more nuanced with the data. So you can kind of see here on my screen, I play the most with Quicks, and you can see I'm a little above 500 with that card. You can also sort by total wins, and you can see I win the most with Quicks as well too. But then what I find really interesting is you can go by win percentage, and you can sort by that as well too. And so there's some lower count cards up top that I kind of have higher winning percentages with, but you can kind of see down here, like an Astral Entity, I played it quite a bit and I have a 573 win rate. And Immortalis, I played it quite a bit and I have a 563 win rate. So you can kind of sort that way. You can see your lifetime record, but you can also see your current month record. So we reset these stats at the end of every month. So we're actually going to start everyone with 0 and 0 on their monthly records again tomorrow. So you can see this month I've had, you know, pretty good luck with the life summoners, at least these two, right? Lorna Shine and Mother Kala. But then what you also can do too is you can get more nuance. So for summoners, you can see how they're performing within specific mana cap ranges. So we pretty much just broken them out by tens here, right? So there's the teens, the 20s, 30s, etc. So if you take a look at my win rate, we'll kind of go down. Let's go to total wins. That's usually the most telling. You can see Mother Kala, which, by the way, I came to it recently, so I have an entire maxed out Rift Washers and Chaos Legion deck. The only untamed card that I've maxed out is Mother Kala, and that's because she's proven to be very effective in low mana battles. When you think of the monsters that are in play and everything else, that summoner. But you can also sort by rule set. And so we have every rule set in the game here, and you can kind of go through them all. We want to add like icons, etc. This is version 1 of everything. But it's pretty interesting. You can kind of see Little League. Which cards am I winning the most with in Little League? And you kind of see Kelia. And I'm actually doing really well with Kelia, right? Like almost winning at a 700 win rate in Little League, which makes sense. And you can also sort by monsters. So if you go over here, you can see all your monsters, and it's the same sorting features. You can go by mana cap range and rule set. But there's also a couple other sort functions for monsters as well, too. You can see their records based on the position you're playing them in, and then under specific summoners. Like, for example, oh, sorry, go ahead.
How has this changed your gameplay now? So you can track everything. You see your wins and losses. You see how you're doing at different mana caps with the different cards. Does that are you then taking that into the game and kind of remaking your decks and the teams that you're building because of this, or are you building specifically to experiment and try different combos? Are you trying to maximize just the win rate? How does your brain work after you get this kind of specific info on how you're doing?
Yeah. So yeah, first of all, I mean, I'm the type of person who I just love stats. So I'll play my whatever games. I'll play 10, 12 games, and I'll check out the updated stats. But in terms of how I'm evolving my gameplay, what I've learned is that I came in before I had this tool. I had a lot of assumptions about how I was performing in the game with certain cards. I just intuitively thought that water was my best splinter, especially when you have a Chaos Legion focused deck, because there are so many, you know, impressive cards in Kelia is widely regarded as the best rare summoner of all the summoners. But what I learned was I'm actually performing best, as you saw with the stats, in Astral Entity and Immortalis, and then even Mother Kala in the right situations. And so what I'm doing is I'm doing a lot of experimenting still. But when I'm in situations where getting a win is very important, specifically brawls, I'll find that I've got some sort of lineups that I'll fall back on. One of them being Immortalis. And I'll show you here, if I go to summoners, because there's another feature. If you click on the card itself, let's just go to overall lifetime. If you click on the specific card, it'll give you more details on that card. So we have a quick read thing here where you can see the summoner or the cards that you play most with these other cards. So right here, if you take a look at Immortalis, these are the top 5 cards in terms of playing with it that I've played with Immortalis. And you can see a trend here, right? There's Mycelic Slip Spawn. There's the Void Armor that's happening, which is making the Slip Spawn able to absorb more damage, especially from magic. But then also look at this. When you pair Goblin Psychic with Immortalis, you have the Void, plus you have the where the magic gets reduced by 1. I'm winning at a pretty high clip. That's almost I think that's a 60% win rate, when my overall win rate is something like in the 470s. So what I'm learning is there are certain combinations, specifically around Immortalis, and then another one in Life, where you have all the melee cards kind of attacking from anywhere, that are kind of becoming my go-to lineups. So I'm trying to learn more about what are some other go-to lineups beyond those two, so I can improve my performance in the game.
Sweet. Anything else you want to add about this?
Yeah, I think just a few other things I wanted to show folks, or a couple other things. I won't take up too much time, but kind of one thing that you can do in here as well too. If you've ever wondered which splinters you perform the best with, we have some sort functions over here. So again, you can kind of see my lifetime record, since you can just real quick, it'll sort all the cards by splinter over here. But then you can see, like, for example, in fire, I'm 447. Water, like I said, I'm 455, totally against what I thought was the case. Earth, I'm almost a 500 player, which is still my best performing one. And then life, death, dragon. And then if you have Lux, I don't have Lux, but then it will track Lux under neutral. But I think one other just sort of example of the types of insights that if people join the service, they could learn about how they play. One thing I've learned, I kind of alluded to this earlier, is the melee from anywhere rule sets. So look, my overall win record with Jared Scar is 537. But what I'm learning is that when I can pair it with the right cards, it has a really strong win rate. So when you give it the Inspire from Chaos Knight, the speed buff from the Soul Fiend, and then Vol'gin just pairs very well with it, it tends to do very well in those types of rule sets. So like, for example, I'll just show you one. I think Equal Opportunity tends to be a pretty strong one. Like, look at that. It's a 584 win rate with Jared Scar and Equal Opportunity, while the card itself is 537, and I'm a 475 player. The other one I kind of like with this card is Super Sneak. And you can just kind of see, like, oh, I guess it's a 466. So yeah, that's a great example of the data showing me, I guess I assumed I was playing well with this one in Super Sneak, but not so much. And what's been fun for me is I've just been able to validate a few other things. Like I've learned, as you would guess, I pair Curse Windaku with the Weirding Warrior a lot, because you have the combination of Thorns and Amplify. I've also found that I tend to do pretty well in the Noxious Fumes rule set with your usual suspects, like Harclaw, because it has immunity, etc. So yeah, that's been that. And then I think that's pretty much a general overview of the tool. It's just, again, what I would say right now is I think it has a lot of value, and people can learn a lot about how they personally play the game. But then the other thing too is I would consider it right now, it's a pretty blunt tool. We're just kind of putting stats out there for people to kind of sort through themselves, etc. But we want to continue to push and innovate on this a little bit. And so one thing that we're playing with is a leaderboard feature. And right now it's pretty straightforward who has like the best current month record, the best all-time record, etc. The Darkest Night is up here for the curse month. I think you guys probably know him. But what we'd love to do is really get deep with some data. And like, for example, wouldn't it be cool to have a leaderboard where we have like the top Noxious Fumes players or the top Little League players, etc., and maybe even start sorting those by level, like champion, diamond, gold, etc. So we want to continue to push and innovate on this a little bit.
It looks like Hellslash has himself a fairly high win rate right there.
I'm wondering if Hellslash is human, if I'm being honest. Oh, that's actually another thing too, because I'm a modern player, obviously, with my deck. And now that the no bot rule has gone into modern, I've actually found a tool like this even more valuable, because I find my human decisions versus sort of like the program bot decisions, my human decisions carry more weight. So I love getting insight into what exactly is and is not working for me. So I think that's kind of exciting as well.
All right. So if people want to find this, where would they go? How do they get in touch with you if they have product suggestions or features that they're requesting?
Yeah, splintercoach.com is the website, and then there's a Join Us button up in the top right. You can see that'll take you right to our Discord. We have a nice little Discord community right now, and love to have more. And then if you want to follow, I do some video content on the tool as well too. I have a YouTube channel called Geeked Out Basketball. And I kind of will post like, top 10 cards in the standard rule set, or, my best performing life cards this month, etc., just to kind of give people some insights on how to use the tool.
And then lastly, is there any fee or is there any monetization? What's that look like?
Yeah, I'd love to give this to everybody for free, but unfortunately, those pesky developers won't work for free. So I have to pay them a little. So what the monetization we have set up is everyone who signs up gets a 7-day free trial, so they can try the service for themselves to see if they like it. And then there's 3 tiers. There's a basic tier that will just track your wins and losses with every card for $5 a month. There's a full data tier, which will give you the full sorting abilities that we showed. So by mana cap, rule set, position, etc. And then there's a VIP tier. And right now, the main utility you get with that is if you see in the lower left corner here, there's a daily 5 and 9 pool. At the end of every month, we give the top performers. Right now, it's the top 1, or I think it's the top 2, just because the community is a bit small, but we might expand that. But they just get a payout just with our like, we want to give a little bit back to people. So it's the top VIP performers. This is the aggregation of all their daily 5 and 9s here. And so, like, for example, it looks like Brooder and Darkest Night are going to get a payout. But who's going to get the 80% and who's going to get the 20% will probably be determined today based on how they perform in their daily 5 and 9s.
Yeah, it's pretty tight.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks for coming on. Thanks for talking about this tool. Thanks for building this. I know that players are always looking to go add more and learn about their play styles and actually get some in-depth numbers here. I think that'll be pretty good. So I appreciate you coming on. Go catch them out at splintercoach.com, and I don't know. Let us know if it helps you at all. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Let's go over to Investigator. I think Gator's going to go tell us a story about some things going live today.
Morning. Well, the update's tomorrow. I know it's early.
Thank you.
Early in the week. I can push it out if you want, but
No, I think that would. I think people would lose their minds.
So we've got a relatively small update going out tomorrow. The main item that's going out is a new third-party feature from one of our partners, TerraBlock. They have built a new token market for swapping large numbers of cryptocurrencies for SPS or DEC. So we will be basically replacing our buy DEC SPS crypto options with a link to their site. And I believe it will, you put in your account name and swap, and it should send it to your account. This is the same company that also runs our bridges. So there's also a couple minor branding updates along the ETH and BSC bridge that we connect out to.
All right, I want to talk about this one more quick second. So normally, we can work with a lot of different swap services, right? Because Pancake Swap and Sushi Swap, most of the swapping tools have integrated those things, and so getting a an ERC20 version of SBS or DEC isn't that hard. But it's not terribly convenient, because then you're still left with a final step of, you got to go bring it in the game. And what this service does is that not only does it connect to SBS, but it connects to SBS in your in-game wallet. So like you're not just left holding some ERC20 SBS version. You actually get the currency that you're looking for in the game that you're trying to play. So, lots of these bridges exist. Lots of these bridges use SBS, and all of them are inconvenient. This TerraBlock one is actually pretty good in the sense that, hey, you can actually get it direct into your game. And then the second thing to note is that they have their own token. There's like a TerraBlock token, and if you are staking that TerraBlock token, you can reduce the fees. So there are fees to use this bridge. There are fees to use this service. But if you are staking their token, then the fees come down pretty substantially. I forget the exact number, but you can get very minimal fees by staking tokens, and then you can go trade this thing more easily. So a big part of helping the community is making it as easy as possible for people to bring money into the ecosystem. Really excited about this TerraBlock edition because it it makes it easier to do that than anything that we've worked with before.
Yeah. And also, to be fair, all of our previous swaps have fees, so it's not like we're suddenly adding a fee. There's been a fee to swap coins through, any of these other services. Other things going out tomorrow. So we are implementing the past DAO proposal to start giving liquidity rewards to the DAO itself. There is a rework of some of the card marketing backend payment processing. So for people that dig a little bit more into the transactions, you should now see a counterparty, basically the account that sent the tokens. Previously, most of the market activity didn't have that on it. There's a couple other items. We put some restrictions on what accounts you can claim the unclaimed balance histories for from the API, because we found that if you try to pull some of the system accounts, it is not, the database is not happy, because they basically have a record for every player in the system. And trying to query that takes a while. There is also one fix for the collection screen. So when collections got redone in tech modernization, when you switch between regular and gold foil cards, it no longer automatically deselects what you had selected. So you can theoretically send a group of regular and gold foil cards to another player. However, you cannot combine gold foil and regular cards, and the combine button was remaining lit. So we have fixed that issue. It no longer lights up. It would error out if you try to do it on the back end. And we are removing some of the APIs that would process battle transactions, and basically we're going to only process those on our battle.splinterlands.com, which is the standard API that the game sends transactions to, just to make it easier on us for monitoring modern traffic, so we can try to detect bots. And one thing that got hotfixed in the past week was the SPS airdrop claim page was retired per the past proposal. We hadn't really seen any more airdrop claims in the last couple weeks, so that is officially done. And that is what's going out tomorrow. It's a bit of a smaller update, which is basically because this is all one dev. Everyone else is on land or tower defense. So that's what we got going out tomorrow.
All right. Well, that is a good segue to bringing on Weirbeard so that we can talk about land and tower defense. So thanks, Gator. Appreciate you kind of telling us what's up. Excited to go see all the swap functionality that should go live. And then, getting into the meat of it on land and tower defense. We're entering crunch time, so let's see what's up there. Thanks, Gator.
Thank you.
Okay, so Weirdbeard, I
What's up?
hear there's some things that we're working on. Would you care to update us on any of them? You got bold. You were like at the intro there, you said something like date and land. And I was like, are you here to just tell us we don't give dates for land?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, that's what I figured. So let's I don't know. What's up? How are we? Have we started land yet?
Yeah, but let's start with the implementation of no bots in modern. Let's start somewhere else.
Oh, the tease. The tease is brutal. This company. I just want everybody to know that I'm not the one that did that. Although I'm angry that I didn't think of it first. But go for it, Weirdbeard.
Well, I mean, my big thing is that I'd really love to be able to have people use this as an opportunity to tell you directly how they are either enjoying or hating the changes that we made. I did hold an kind of informal type poll on the Discord where I asked, a couple of different questions, but the big one was, hey, from your earlier impressions, do you think the quality of matches in Modern has improved? And we have about 70% of people saying that yes, that they've seen the quality of matches in Modern actually improve. Which is a nice little start to the implementation that we put out.
How do you define the quality of a match?
Again, this is more sentiment analysis. We do have stuff that we're doing for like in depth what is a quality match, but this is like an informal Discord poll, right? Just taking the temperature of the room. Uh, one of the big things as well is making sure that we delivered on exactly what was asked. What is it? 70% of people said that we delivered on the request made in the original DAO proposal, which is to me is like a big thing, right? Not only do people have to like it, but we have to deliver what was asked of us to do, because that's sort of the challenge when it came to this particular. Like I don't want to call it a challenge, but this particular issue, we didn't want to just go too far. I know there's a lot of people who are upset about battle helpers. There are people who are kind of stressed about wanting to take this into wild as well. But when you look directly at just what was passed and what was in that DAO proposal, it said we will eliminate bots, which is what we identified as like not humans. There's nobody there running the account, and so that's sort of what we wanted to deliver on.
Did you get feedback from the 30% who said no, we didn't satisfy it? What were they cranky about?
21% of the people said we did a 3 out of 5. It was 8% that were a 1 or a 2. And a lot of people just are not happy when we changed botting off. Like it was less a you didn't do what was asked of you, and more I just don't like what was passed and do not want you doing this.
Okay.
Which
All
is
right.
fair. Like again, I'm just here to do what I'm being told to, man. Um, but overall, I think one of the interesting things is seeing the rewards for each league in Modern really, really going up, and hopefully, this we're starting to see a repatriation or like a regaining players that had left because they were just very frustrated with the quality of matches and the quality of play in Modern itself.
Yeah, watching, when you kick out lots of botted accounts and you have a smaller pool of people earning rewards, that's a much larger reward share per player. And so I think I've seen a whole bunch on Twitter of people just being ecstatic with like, hey, look how many rewards I'm getting now. You get a lot more SPS. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, I mean, like again, I want to ask people who are here, who are either watching on YouTube, on Twitch, in Discord, wherever you're at right now, that this is a really great way to be able to voice your sentiments and make sure you're sharing them directly with the team, right? Like we can't be everywhere all at once. This was a change that was voted on by the DAO, but we do want to make sure that we are trying to hear feedback on it and how people are enjoying it, and whether it's making a difference or not.
All right. Anything else you want to add about banning bots?
You just want to talk about land.
I do want to talk about land, damn it.
Take me out to a date first. You need to wine and dine.
I asked the leading question about freaking bots. Is there anything else you'd like to share about that? Is there something you think I should have asked, Weird Beard?
The last thing that I would ask you to discuss or at least take into mind is that there are 2 more proposals that are currently out there, fronted by Dave McCoy. They mainly center around Battle Helper and Bots and Wild. So just I'm not advocating either way. All I'm letting people know is that they do exist. And for if people are interested or they were not happy with what we did for the Modern proposal, that this is your chance to have a voice again and make sure that you participate in those proposals as well.
Yep. All right. Really excited to hear how that's gone. It seems like the players are generally excited. It seems like there's a few that are salty. That is kind of par for the course, as far as I can tell. So let's talk about something else. The thing that's on my mind, I think, is land.
Yeah.
Where are you with land? What do you want to share? What can we talk about? What can't we talk about? What's going on?
What I can say is I will give a firm mush date in the sense that I can confirm that Land 1.5 will be releasing sometime in August. Now I use sometime. That does not mean any. It could be the last day. It could be the first day, but it's not going to be early in the month. But
We're not committing to August
no,
1st.
no. But we are going to be seeing Land 1.5 coming live here in the month of August, which is great. Like we're going through and really trying to make sure that the product that we're delivering is super great. And one of the other reasons that we're able to put a fine deadline ish sort of on it is because we're running through our checklist of items that are going to be included in the release. One of those things is that from a change of what I was talking about last week, we are going to be able to get Rooney available and working live in that 1.5 release. So people were quite upset when we talked about it. We went back and we pulled some strings and we're able to make sure that with a little bit of extra finagling that we're going to be able to include that in our release. So that's really great news for me.
How daunting is it to say August? Do you feel like I guess how much more of so we have a release, we have a design, this thing is on our test servers. Like how much do you feel like we still have to code, still have to fix? Are we like just in bug hunting? Or are we still writing code? Are we still doing art? Like how frozen is the deployment, and how much is still kind of like in flight?
I mean, we are definitely not frozen right now. I will be completely clear with that. We have plenty that's still going in, such as the aforementioned Rooney, right? Like we weren't confident that was going to be able to get into the first release, and now we're saying like, hey, we're going to do it. But that means that we're working on it right now. The other thing that I would kind of say is that we have a good chunk that is a good chunk that's there, right? Like the core functionality is there. If you press buttons, things are, working and on and live. A lot of it is just like connective tissue type stuff. Um, One of the other things too is that this is not a product that we are just sort of pushing out. We're not going to finish it and then release it 2 days later. We are doing a bunch of QA testing, and we anticipate to do even more. And that means that like as QA testing happens, that we end up making changes and updates to it. We still have some creative stuff that is being fine-tuned. But again, like I'm hoping to be able to walk through a lot of this with people live ahead of time and go, look at all these things. Here you go. Look at all, the pretty buttons and whatnot. But yeah.
Yeah. So I get when I think about release dates, the thing that terrifies me are bugs, right? Like that you can build something and you can anticipate how long it's going to take you to build it. But if you have a bug, it can be very difficult to figure out how long it takes to fix it. You're basically hunting for like colons in the code that are misplaced, or you're looking for just things that made sense to you the first time that actually weren't operating correctly, and that can all be very difficult to diagnose. So that makes me nervous. I guess, can you talk about the size of land? Like, is this a small update, a big update, the biggest update ever, the smallest update ever? Like, just the sheer amount of code, what's that? How's it compare?
I mean, it's pretty big. Like Investigator mentioned, we currently have everybody except for like one person essentially, working on land. We're making sure that we have everybody in there, which normally we wouldn't want too many cooks in the kitchen because that makes it really stressful and hard to be able to do. But because there's so much to do that, they're not stepping on each other's toes too much. Um, like we even pulled in Cryptomancer on this, who is he had to learn land and everything going on with it. We were like, all right, man, go. And usually he's our secret weapon that we pull out for, like large projects. I think the really interesting thing that we've seen has been people making sure that it doesn't stay small. Like I feel like the easy answer would have been, "Hey, we've already delayed land a couple of times. Let's just cut all the scope and just put it out there and say whatever we do is what we do." And we've worked really hard to make sure that that's not what we're doing, right? Like we promised this is what would be included in Land 1.5. Here's why we're doing it. And we're going to get out what we need to get out for our first release and then follow it up immediately with, another release shortly thereafter. With some of the other things that we want to include in Land, as well as some of the things that just aren't going to be able to come out, fully baked. No half-baked products is how I like to phrase it.
Can you what's going to make the cutting room floor? Or I guess are you certain of what's going to make it in the first release and what's not going to? You want
Yeah,
to
I
discuss
mean,
any of that?
here, let me pull up. We literally have a cheat sheet. Is what it's called. Still, we won't be able to have the prefix titles make it into the first one. Regular titles will make it in.
Yeah. So do you want to just help explain the difference in case somebody is freaking out that titles isn't going to be there?
Okay, prefix titles are land specific titles. So you don't even have to it's literally just functionality that's not there. So nobody has a prefix title currently. And so they don't have to worry about it. We're also going to make sure that the core components of what we're looking for are there, which is like, hey, you should be able to see all of your production overview, which is your time crystal management and your dark energy status and your region status and production statuses for the grain research and SPS. You are going to be able to manage your resources, staking DEC to power your workers. You should be able to purchase power sources to ensure your workers continue to work. Ability to manage the worker and equipment slots for the plot by staking cards and assets. Purchase and transfer grain and view all resource production. We're also going to have asset staking, so those are the cards, plot clearing, resource production, and different things like that. For the next cut, we're hoping to be able to include things like squatting, landing pages that are going to make it nice and pretty. A DEC rental market is going to hopefully be able to make it into the next one. But a lot of it is just, we're trying to get the core functionality out and then some of the nice to haves right afterwards.
So, yeah, I'm pretty stoked about this. The main thing that's in my brain is that if we have something like 150,000 plots and there's 5 monsters per plot, that's 750,000 cards. And if you think of that at max level, that's something like 3/4 of all cards that are in existence are going to go on to land by the time that it's fully utilized. That to me is huge. Next up, I think about how much DEC we have. So there's something like 4.7 billion DEC right now. Splinterlands has a little over 1 billion of that. So that's 3.7. There's a whole bunch of liquidity pools. So there's only something like 2 billion, maybe 3 billion DEC that's kind of like out in the wild. And if you wanted to go park monsters on all this land, you're going to need 7.5 billion. So there's not enough DEC in existence for land to get completely utilized, and that's really exciting. So, and it's if that the only way to get it is if you take care of business on the SPS side. So if that happens, and I guess also I'm thinking we still have, even if the proposal of Matt's passes for Rift Watchers cards for DEC, that's like a 10 billion DEC sink there as well. So there's something like 17 billion DEC that can get sunk and only 2 billion DEC in existence. And then on the SBS side, you have like 1.1 billion, I think is how many there are, somewhere in that range. You have
just a small number, not that much.
Yeah, but it's 676 of that is already staked. The DAO and SBS combined have something like 260 million of them. You have liquidity pools, which I think are just under 100 million, which means that like only 10% of the supply of SBS is really liquid. So, if you have to take 17 billion SBS out of circulation, and you can only do that by 10% of the SPS pool, like that math is swimming in my head every single day. So every day that we get closer to land, I get giddy, I get greedy, I get to thinking like, holy crap, this is a giant change for our entire ecosystem.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that's what I said last week on our town square when we were just informally kicking it around. I made sure to say, like, I don't think a lot of people are going to have enough DEC. But again, the other thing that I'm interested in is making sure that land is open and accessible to all kinds of people, so that we don't need people who have to spend a gajillion DEC, right? Like, one of the other ways that we can do this, other than just sheer volume, is by making up how many people are able to interact and participate with land in the land ecosystem. So like that's a main focus of like the things that we get out the door are functionality, and then those secondary things are all how do we get it and make it easier for more people to get in and participate and mess around with land and care about, you know, what's going on with it. Because what we don't want to do is have land be this like walled garden of 50 people. You know what I mean? Like that defeats the entire purpose of what we're trying to do. It doesn't even matter if it's like the largest bag holders that we have all doing it. Who cares? You know, you want to make it so that's something that everybody is able to care about. Because we've spent the past, I don't know, 6 months, 7 months, like quite a while messing around with this. Like we don't want to just develop products that are only for a tiny little section of who's here and playing. We want to make things that are encouraging and exciting for everybody.
So there's the Splinter Stats website, which I like to go to because you can track DEC and SBS. So if you track DEC, the top holder is the Splinter SL-Hive account, which is the sort of like tribal dex bridge. You have TerraBlock BSC and TerraBlock ETH. You have the SL Market account, and then you have SL Cold, and then SBS DAO. SBS DAO has 58 million DEC in it, which is basically all people buying Riftwatcher packs now. So that's been pretty steadily taking DEC out of the market. And then the first player, they're the top rated player that's an individual is Cryptomancer. He's got 33 million DEC handy, but you know, I think he has 3 regions, so he needs 150. So even though he has a lot, he's only at 20% of what he needs. Then you have Revolutionist Cafe, they've got 16 million. Rent My Cards, which might be a player or might just be a service, I don't know. You have Imaculator, who I think is one of the bot accounts. And then you have Jay Monahan at 11 million. Like, as I'm looking down this list and seeing that, you know, you need, if you want to populate a full region, you're going to need 50 million. I see exactly 0 players that are ready for that.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a single region holder on here that has 50 million. So my take is that nobody's ready, nobody's close to ready. And when this thing gets going in August, meaning anytime in the next 30 days or so, holy crap, this whole community is completely underprepared for land coming out.
Yeah,
That is my sense.
again, I want to your unabashed enthusiasm. I will play a little bit of, you know, dampening and just saying like, hey, we really hope to continue improving on this. That it's a not one and done process, but land itself is just this massive undertaking. And, you know, like what we're walking out the door here in this release and subsequent releases are supposed to be building blocks and continually expanding and making it, again, not only more accessible, but making it so that it's always constantly improving. You know, doing something like this has been a large project, especially for Land 1.5, because a lot of it is like back end development, the ability to stake, unstake cards and bring in resources and create them and move them. And what, like, a lot of that work seems like at the end of the day, it'll be like, oh yeah, put your card here and it's staked. Like, okay, cool. Like that seems like a really simple process. But we spent all kinds of time doing back end so that hopefully in the future we're able to do you know, more exciting and more um like more impressive things because we lay down a really, really solid base layer of what we're doing. And if anybody sees Farpatrod in chat at all, you need to make sure to spam him with excellent, uplifting gifts and pictures of your cats or whatever it is to be able to get him through this because, he's put in a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and we need to make sure to give him his flowers while he's here.
Yeah, he's been killing it. So he was the right guy to put on this, and this whole community is going to owe him a ton, just for the work that he's done and the spirit with which he's done it. He's been a good sport.
But again, also remember that I don't want anybody to think that it's like we're like Farpatrod has been in the land gulag for quite a while. Like he's just been slaving away at doing land. But again, we've pulled in all kinds of front end, back end, everybody to make sure that we we get everybody there, because we need to get this out the door. We need to release this because, it not that it's standing in the way of other things that we're doing, but because it's such a massive project, you can't exactly do two things at once with a project like this, other than tower defense, which is a thing that we are currently working on with our partners at Double Coconut to make sure that we get it out the door here soon.
Yeah, I'm not done talking about land. Is there? So Dave McCoy brought up the power cores too.
Mm-hmm.
So there's 150,000 plots. Each one of them is going to need a power core. Some of them have already been purchased because of the starter kits, but that's another giant DEC sink sitting right there. Is even, that's $750,000 worth, 750 million DEC worth of power core. I mean, just every part of this that I look at just tells me there's not enough for everybody. My general suggestion is push and shove, because you're right now there's still a discount on DEC on on the exchanges. This thing is only trading at like 800 Splintoshis or something. So just know that the sheer demand for this should change rather rapidly next month, meaning tomorrow through the next 31 days. I just keep that in mind that it seems like everybody's underprepared, and it's gonna be wild.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really hoping more than anything that land along with the bot changes that we've made, along with some of the other things that we have coming along in the background, are keys to really start slowly enticing new people to be able to come into the ecosystem, interact. Hopefully they see, oh, this land is launching, and hopefully they know nothing about land, so they come in here and have to harass people in the tavern chat to explain it to them. Like that's one of the ways that I measure stuff is how often am I seeing in tavern chat people that are asking, I have no idea what's going on, please educate me. Because we want more of that, like land itself should not be an insular thing that we're just passing around to people that are already in the game, right? Like we want this to be a thing that's attractive and exciting to people who aren't currently playing Splinterlands, who maybe are like, I'm not really into TCGs. Okay, fine, here you go. We have this entire land product, and they get really excited about it and want to check out more about it. So that's what I'm excited for, is to see the momentum, not necessarily, I'm not discounting the financial side of it, but really like what it is going to be able to do for player excitement and like who's going to be coming in and hanging out with us that are new.
So we got so one of the things that's on my brain is like, what do players need to do to prepare? So it's the basics of you're going to need your titles, your totems. You need your units, meaning the summoners or monsters that you want to stake on land. You want your Rooney. You have to own land. You have to have DEC to stake. But like, if I want my monsters to work on the land, one of the things to consider is I probably don't want to start like new season rentals with them, right? Like if this thing is coming in August, I don't want to lock my cards in a season rental for a couple weeks. Is that right or no? Or what do you think?
Well, you forgot one big thing in there, which is you're going to need grain in order to feed your workers. Like that's everybody is. There's quite a few people that are doing it. There's a YouTuber, Bronze Dragon, that I watch sometimes too. Who
Shout out to Bronze Dragon.
he does entire a video series about preparing for Land 1.5. And I find that he's very good about making sure to remind people that you need grain to feed your workers. You can't just put them out there and have them doing stuff, right? Like I don't work for I work for sandwiches, essentially, is what I'm trying to say. So you need to have sandwiches for your workers, and that's one of the things that you can prepare for. And some people I think are really going to kind of latch onto that. They may just, forget about doing all the other trading stuff. Grain may be a resource as well that people are going to try to corner.
Okay, but I gotta like unlock my cards, right? Or I have
Yeah.
to like if I'm a land baron, I got at least a region that I personally own. I have to like get cards onto that account, right? Like I have a number of different alt accounts. I have to go shift cards from other accounts and get them on my main account. Is that correct?
Yeah, you need to have those cards on the account that the land is on. Dave McCoy has been in my Discord DMs for probably 2 months now, and he's like, "You have to give me a heads up. You cannot just. You have to tell me so that I can consolidate." And so if you are somebody who has a lot of assets spread out across stuff, make sure that if you have a land account where the land is, that you have your resources in that account. So
Yeah, I want everybody to know I'm going to start doing that. Me personally, I'm going to start accumulating my land into all one account, and all my not all my cards, but most of my cards I think are going towards this. So if you start seeing weird movements and stuff like that, I just want you guys to know I'm doing it in preparation for land, moving it so that my cards can go. And you may or may not, depending on how you're feeling, want to do the same. But I'm just, yeah, I'm warning you that I am personally moving my collection to be prepared for land, and you may also want to do that.
I'm interested because it's like I think it's going to be I hate using the word interesting twice, but like it's going to be cool to see what the utilization of land is going to be, because when we launch, I don't think that it's going to be instantly like, okay, it's land is live 100% maxed out. Everybody is totally at peak efficiency. There's going to be a lot of land plots where a lot of garbage is just just going to get stuck. People are going to go, oh, whatever, I fill it. The people that have like massive regions, and all kinds of land plots. There, all of those are going to have to be filled. So I don't know how efficient it's going to be and how much people are going to, because a lot of that first like week is going to be sort of like feeling in the dark and trying to figure out, okay, what should I do, what do I maximize, should I try to max out a whole bunch of plots, or should I just focus on like my occupied ones, should I focus on my magic ones and try to like max those and the other ones or whatever. Like that meta game within it I think is going to be an interesting development, and that's not something that we get to set, that's something players find out.
Well, there's not enough DEC in existence to go do all of land. So that we're not going to be 100% utilizing it, which means that just like we're seeing in the modern, where when there's fewer accounts that are eligible for rewards, the rewards get much juicier to a smaller number of people. You're seeing that in modern. You're about to see that in land. Because there's just literally not enough DEC. So, market conditions might change and we might suddenly be 100% ready for this community to 100% use land. But currently, that would be literally impossible. So the people that are owning land, are prepared for land, and deploying their cards onto land are going to start getting some of the juiciest land rewards that have ever been given out. And maybe that lasts a week, maybe that lasts a year. It kind of depends on how long it takes the unprepared people to get prepared. But just mathematically, the community is not prepared for this. We've been saying gather this stuff up, but maybe because of previous delays, they don't believe us or something. But there's just not enough for everybody. So and it's going live in the next 31 days. So I would encourage everybody, like I have been encouraging people, the time to get it is before it launches, because I imagine it will be harder to get once everybody, like some of the cards that are might be easily available right now. I just imagine that when 75% of all existing cards are staked on land, it's going to be harder to get some of these things. That if you see some alpha deals out there, I don't know how much longer they're going to last, or people will be willing to put them out there, because if you have like a kobold miner, maybe they're not making you a ton of money in fighting in wild, but if you can put them on land and they can permanently generate you revenue in the form of SPS, I think that'll be attractive, and it'll get more attractive when people can see, hey, all of these land rewards that are baked into the white paper are going to just the people that are prepared. And I think in my brain that's going to be fairly juicy, but we'll see what the community thinks.
Agreed.
So you guys have a limited amount of time to get prepped. We're telling you it's August. I'm moving my personal cards because I know it's in August. I'm encouraging you all to do the same. You might miss a little part of rental, or maybe switch to daily rentals if you're doing season rentals and you're planning on using them for land. But at some point in this month, we expect you to stake cards on land. Be ready for that, and they have to be on the right account. So I wouldn't overcommit your cards, even with things like season rentals. So that's my warning. And if you see me moving my cards, I'm not like cashing out and rug pulling like it's bald. I am prepping my cards to go make sure that I can capture as much of that sweet land loot that everybody's fighting for. And also, when that happens, Vugtis was saying in chat, a lot of players are keeping DEC and SBS in the pools. Where there's tons of liquidity right now, if the players start pulling all their DEC out of whatever pools they have, to stop earning reward on the pools and to start earning reward on land, the abundance of easily gettable SPS and DEC, because there's lots of money that's being staked in them right now, that might actually vanish rather rapidly. So I don't know what markets can do or will do. I guess I can guess at what they might be able to do, and just based off of if that's the thinking, if that's how that's operating, I'm gonna pull a bunch of the tokens that I personally hold, not the ones that Splinterlands holds, but just as a whale in this game, I'm planning to go take a bunch of game tokens out of liquidity pools to be able to deploy them to land. And I don't think I'm the only one that's going to be doing that. So just that's kind of another warning to the players, where today you look around and you're like, hey, there's $1 million in 3 different pools. I can get as much of this stuff as I want. If all the players start pulling their assets out to go then stake them into land, it might actually get pretty challenging to find DEC in pools and DEC on the market, and SBS in pools and on the market. So just those are my words of caution, that I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know, but if there are things that I would be worried about as a player of what will be different now versus a couple weeks from now, my guess is that the pools are going to be a lot smaller, and it's going to be harder to get the resources that you want for land, because you weren't prepared, because you waited the very last minute. So those are some of my thoughts. I don't know if they're true or not. Those are my worries, or those are my concerns. And so I'm just voicing those so that you guys can make whatever plans you think are correct and in the best interest of you, your family, and your gameplay. Did I miss anything, Weirdbeard? Anything else that you'd put in there that I don't know, you think how is it going to look different after land gets out there than it is today?
Like in the markets, or like what I'm doing?
Anything, just well, sure, it's just any part. What is, let's say that land happens
Mhm.
and land is deployed, it's successfully deployed, the game doesn't break, and everything is able to function. We come back and now it's mid-September. How are things different? What looks different? Maybe not, we don't want to do like price predictions because that's probably no bueno, but
No.
how are things, what's different in this game, what's different in what you're doing, how do things change?
Well, I mean, again, we still have that follow-up release that we're going to be doing for, right after Land 1.5, for some of the other things like land surfing that we're hoping to be able to get in there. But we're also, I want an entire sprint or two of just working on outstanding bugs and tech debt. That's what I'm pushing for. That's what I want to be able to go out and do, is do fun stuff so that Harry is not cleaning up our messes, because he's the man, and he all the time is bailing us out because we're so busy with land that some things are there and he's like, yeah, I got it. I want to be able to get through and do a lot of these things. Somebody posted in the Discord chat asking when we added like a cool shine to legendary land. Little touches like that go so far. And sometimes those are the things that like get cut when we're talking about, hey, we need to hit this date and we're going to be releasing here. A little shine on the card, yeah, that can wait. We'll get to that. I'd like to be able to go back and add those kind of polish items, and I always say anything to make Nate happy. If Nate is happy, everything else in this company runs so much smoother because I just get to have Nate smiling and say yes to anything I ask him. So like constantly everybody like bullies Nate and just goes, do it, go make this thing. And then he has to go back and then do it. I want to reverse that and put creative at the forefront, be able to have them lead the horse to water on what we're able to do and make.
Okay, so that's the land piece is one kind of big update that I've done my best in whatever, with my hands get tied in terms of what I can say and what I can't say, and I'm trying to be as friendly and helpful to the community as I can. And those are the things that I think are fair to say, that are good to say, and that give you guys some sense and direction as to what should be happening. Even I don't have an exact crystal ball of these things exactly, because how they all pan out, I don't know. But I've tried to give you the best information that I can. So moving away from land, that's not the only major update that we have going on. We have this whole tower defense thing too.
Yeah.
You want to, where's that at? Right? Like we've been saying, hey, we're going to release this for a while too. What's your brain telling you, or what are you seeing in the development for Soulkeep?
Well, just last week, Matt actually put up the proposal that we've been talking about for changing the rewards. Again, if you're not familiar, the reward system used to be based around people who had purchased and held on to packs, right? So the incentive was to just hold them. So if we launched the game and people were not incentivized to open those packs, nobody would be playing. They just continue holding them, and we'd have a game that like exists, but nobody earns from being able to actually interact and play. Currently in the pre-proposal stage, that's passing by like 33% almost. It's 62 million up, 908,000 down. So that will hopefully be able to go to a full vote here very soon. And that's one of the major blockers to actually getting the game out and released. We still don't have an exact date because, as I've internally said a million times, we are not going to step on each other's feet with product releases. Like Land 1.5 is the most important thing that we are doing right now. Soul Keep's very, very important as well. But like as far as Soul Keep itself goes, we're just kind of like squashing bugs as they come up. We're looking at we have it on internal QA servers, and we're hoping to be able to get it to Mavs here pretty soon of what the new updated game is going to look like. But yeah, I mean, a lot of it is just making sure that we cross our T's and dot our I's to make sure that this proposal passes, or if it doesn't pass, a proposal that changes the rewards away from holding packs. The other thing as well to note in that proposal is it talks about SPS staking. So you will need to stake SPS to earn different reward share multipliers for each league within the game.
And that's like what we're doing right now in Splinterlands, right?
Yes, it's exactly.
So the more SPS that you're holding at any given league means that the rewards are boosted for you. Did I state that correctly?
Essentially, yes. So speaking from the proposal, when SPS is delegated to Soulkeep, it will no longer count towards your SPS stake for Splinterlands ranked battle rewards, meaning that you will have to stake. It's the same thing, but you can't just dump a whole bunch into a pool and say it applies to everything. You have to make a conscious decision between either Splinterlands ranked battles, tower defense, or if you're a baller, you can do both. Live your life, whatever you want to do.
So are there other blockers other than this reward system? I guess so. I've heard two blockers from you today. The first is land is a little bit of a moving target still. We know it's August, but we don't have an exact date. So that sounds like a blocker. The second blocker is this proposal still has 10 days before, because there's 3 days in the pre-proposal and 7 days in the post-proposal. So we have 10 days before that's done. Once that proposal is passed and once land has gotten out there, is there anything else stopping Soulkeep from going live?
Yeah, I mean, from a technical perspective, um, I would say it's also a large handoff, right? Like we don't have the code. Like if the code was a briefcase, we are currently not in possession of said briefcase. It all lives in somebody else's house. So when we do this update and it actually pushes to the Splinterlands live site, it's a whole coordination of getting of Double Coconut's team, who is international people, to be able to come together and do this massive release between their architecture and our architecture in two separate teams in two different places at the same time. So coordinating that and making sure that we're good to go with that is a whole process in and of itself that we have our operations team currently working on.
So
Yep.
is that doesn't sound in the future. That doesn't sound like we are doing that in October. It sounds like we are currently doing that now.
Yes, I mean we're preparing for it now, correct, by setting it up so that when we do want to do it, we are able to do it. Because what I think is really annoying is going to be if everything's just sitting on the shelf and we're like, we'll get to it one day, we'll figure it out. I know tower defense is not necessarily everybody's cup of tea. There are some people who are not that excited, but there are some people who are very excited. So we want to be able to deliver this product for those people who are excited, who did purchase nightmare packs, and the tower defense itself is actually a whole nother product, just like land, that once we get it out, it's iterative, right? Nate has, and the creative team has all kinds of stuff that they want to do for tower defense and the tower defense ecosystem and other games that might be within the Splinterlands game itself. And so knowing and understanding all of those things is a thing, because they're getting, the creative team is getting their ducks in a row for what they want to do for it, and with the engineering team is getting the release schedule out so that once we have it, we're able to make changes and updates, blah 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 blah. And it's just, everybody always looks at release dates as the end all be all, when really a release date is just okay, it's live now. There's still all the follow-up that goes along with it.
Is there any chance of Soulkeep? Do you want to put any dates or any
No.
timelines or any thoughts on Soulkeep?
Negative. No.
Okay.
I love all those Soulkeep players. I know, Lunacy System is hounding every day, every time we do stuff, asking about when Soulkeep, when are we doing this? And you get the same treatment as land. Nobody's special around here. All dates go to die with Weirdbeard.
Nice. Okay. But the big blockers, we have the handoff, which is being worked on now. We have the proposal, which is literally live, and that will need the full proposal. And then I thought there was a third one, and then the sort of floating date for land. Is the priority land then Soulkeep, or is the goal Soulkeep then land?
I mean, land takes precedent over anything. If I had a pregnant wife right now, I'd tell her keep it in there until after land. We're not doing anything until land 1.5 comes out. So that is everything ends at that at that statement.
All right, so we got to get land out, and then so land will come out first sometime in August, and then sometime following that we'll get Soul Keep out. So I don't know. I guess we mark that as soon, and hopefully that's not in the very far future, but we're nearing a release.
Yeah, no, it's again, I don't want to be too coy about it. Like, it's not that we are far off or that it's still being even like developed at this point. Like, it's we're fixing bugs in it, but the game itself is still not being like worked on as far as a core loop. The big thing is just trying to juggle this massive land project and not taking our eye off the ball. If we were to do the same thing that we're doing for land, where we stick all the devs on Soul Keep, I bet you 2 weeks. You know what I mean? Like, but that's if we had every single dev going at it the way that we have it for land. And it's just unfortunately a matter of resources and priorities. And I don't know what much more information we can really share other than it's like it's not 90% of the way there. It's a matter of making our stuff work with it and be ready for it, and then just doing it, but not doing it on top of land. We have in the history of this company, we have a really bad habit of like making multiple announcements back to back to back to back, and it makes people feel like they're chugging out of a fire hose. We want land to release. People get a little bit of giddy time to just be excited about land before we're like, hey, new thing as well. Go focus on this. Like, just focus on one thing.
Other than that, is there anything else that's going on that you want to talk about?
More tournaments coming up today. They will be created sometime in the day today. I will put out an all tournaments ping for anybody who is interested. That is a role that you're able to select within the Discord. Again, I will let me put it in one more time. Please, if you're interested, you can fill out that quick removal of bots from modern format feedback. It's like 5 questions. It's literally 30 seconds to be able to go and do. And more than anything else, please, please, please share your voice, share your opinion on the things that matter the most to you. We are doing our best to make sure that we're here to serve you, the people, the players. You're the lifeblood of what keeps us here.
Rock on. All right, Weirdbeard, thanks for the update. Thanks for keeping us in the loop. Let's over to Nate and do a little bit of a creative brief. Thanks, Weirdbeard.
You got to go talk to Ron first.
Oh, Ron's gonna hold this up. Ron's gonna tell me that's not the show order, Aggie. We have to go do Splinterlands TV.
You got to come through me before you can get to Nate. I don't want to follow up Nate. Are you kidding me?
Sorry, Ron. Sorry, clown. I was wrong. You were right. Thank you. So tell me about Splinterlands TV. Where are we at? What's going on?
We've got a few things I want to discuss today. First of all, this one really isn't going to affect the audience today, but I want to let you guys know what we're up to behind the scenes. Splinterlands has been going through tech modernization. You guys have seen that going to the Splinterlands site. Splinterlands TV has gone through its own tech modernization. We went through about 50,000 lines of code, rewritten a lot of it, had to move a lot of it, or like removed, or just basically have taken all of our code in 5 different repositories and merged them down to 2 repositories, cleaned it all up. So now future updates are going to be much easier. Deployments are going to be much faster. Things are going to be more stable and reliable, and just overall better. Now, what that means for you guys is probably nothing, but it is like a little bit, kind of just stuff that's happening in the background, stuff that we've been busy with, and really quite a huge project for just a part-time developer and me as a QA tester. So, and that's going to be going out tomorrow. Also, we've been doing Summoner Summer. And you know what? We still have a kitty. We still have a kitty.
And it's a gold foil, I believe.
It's a gold freaking foil kitty. And we're trying to give it away. It sadly has not been given away. So, what we're going to do starting in August is every single week that the kitty has not been given away, we're going to start removing cards from the account. We're going to remove more and more cards from the account until that kitty is given away. So you guys, you have to tune in to win. But if you want to win that gold foil kitty, August is going to be your best chance yet, because we are going to start getting rid of cards. We're going to start making the chance higher and higher. And sometime in August, that kitty is going to be given away.
All right, sweet. Is there other developments that you want to share?
Well, so after Summoner Summer ends, we are going to be taking a break from doing promotions for a bit. I mean, we still are going to be doing our clip of the week promotion, giving away a couple of thousand of SPS every single week to people who take their favorite moments from Splinterlands TV streams, clip it, and post it over in our Discord. But we're going to take a little bit of a break, a little bit of a breather. A lot of this giveaway, we've been doing giveaways since February. Have you realized that? We started with FOMO February and been going hard ever since. And
it's a lot for sure.
I talked to the streamers. I've listened to the feedback from the audience. There's, I know a lot of people have been loving the giveaways, and they're not going to end. We are still going to do some in the future, but we're going to take just a little break and, and kind of collect ourselves, do a little bit of data research, a little bit of understanding of what works, what doesn't, and come back even better and hopefully make everybody happy.
Okay. That sounds good. Are there some clips of the week that we should share?
There are. Do you want to do the town hall shoutouts real quick?
Yeah, I can go do those first. Ron keeps telling me subtly we're going to do it a different way, Aggie. We have.
What do you mean?
Well, I was like, we're going to go to Nate, and you're like, no, we're going to do Splinterlands TV.
Oh.
I'm like, oh, let's go do clip of the week, and you're like, no, let's go read these. I'm like, all right, fine, I'll do whatever Ron wants. I work for you. All right, Soulbound cards are not free. There's one. Lewis 88 in the audience and also getting one of the shout outs. Fine work there. We got Hiza. We got Frozen Pteranodon. Bitcoin Flood. That's an OG. Nice to see you there. Kira. Mr. Sir Dr. Dude Bro. We got Big Barger. D's Nuts. A very, very professional. Kitty. Pablito Saldo, Larkin, Soulbound cards are not free again. Ja Believer, I don't know if you guys know this, but Ja Believer is a big time watcher of the Splinterlands TV. Hero 82, Jorge, Gigi's Hoyo, hopefully I said that right. Brazen Blake, 2HI74. We got ZZZZZZ Android, Obi Phenom. And actually, Obi Phenom is going hardcore this week. We got Obi Phenom not twice, but 3 times, and our buddy from the Philippines, Mango Mayhem. So that's a pretty decent list. It's not like the hundreds of names that we had to do in the past, but that's pretty decent. We got a fair number of people watching.
Well, that's why I'm trying to keep you on your toes, because we don't want to miss a town hall shout outs and then have to do them all.
Yeah. Doing like 75 of that is a lot. Okay, so Ron, can we do clip of the week? Do you have a clip or maybe 2 clips that you'd like to share?
Oh yeah, I can do that. Yeah, so the first one, let me just get my notes up here. The first one is, those what other Gladius packs? I lost the word. Gladius packs. Those Gladius packs, they can be a tough nut to crack, and you never get the cards that you want, it seems like. But this one right here was pretty awesome, because Silence, as I like to call him, P Silence, he had been going 42 pack, no legendary streak, 42 packs with no legendaries at all. And finally, he got something.
Be the lucky pack. We're going to get there with pack 42 with no legendaries. Like, it's almost a game now. Like, how many packs will I open with no legendaries? And there's a rare, so that doesn't go. 42. So pack 42 was the pack, you guys. Oh my gosh, pack 42 was the ultimate pack. Pack 42 was the ultimate pack. I went 42 packs without a legendary, Let's see how they pay out. Come on. Yes, Larissa Corrado, the only one I didn't have. It's paying out hard. And let's see the other one. Pack 42. 42. We got there, guys. It only took 42 packs, but we are finally there. 2 legendary.
It's the meaning to life, the universe, and everything.
Yeah, there's something special about that number, isn't there? Well,
Okay.
So the second clip, P Silence, as I like to call him, did a little bit of a challenge to the streamers. He wanted to see who could do the most push-ups. And it was actually quite a bit of fun. It was more people that participated than I expected. And the stakes weren't high. It was more about who could just show off the best, I guess. But we have the second clip is one of the push-up challenges, and it was pretty fun. These guys had fun with it. Oh, that wasn't it. Whoops. Here we go. All right.
Wow, that's the whole push-up now. That's the whole 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I said, Alhamdulillah. Because you're playing. You're cutting on your knees.
Oh, you see the stuff that our streamers go through to entertain you guys.
Yeah. Well, all right. That's awesome. Well, thanks for watching Splinterlands TV. Thanks for chiming in, and good to see that the rewards are still going out. You should get those before the little break ends. And I don't know, just keep tuning in. That seems to be the magic there.
Yeah, no, it's been going awesome, and I want to thank everybody for tuning in. And yeah, we'll be back next time with more clips of the week and more stuff to share.
Perfect. All right. Thanks, Ron. All right. Now, for real, let's go bring on Nate, and let's go have a little creative talk. So, Nate, how are things?
Hey, doing good.
I hear it's really a lackadaisical stroll through the creative wonderlands of Pretoria. Just no stress. Life is easy. It's all peaceful. And there's this thing called land. I don't know what's on your brain. What's the highest priority for creative? What are you guys working on, and what are you trying to crank out?
Well, at this part during the land development process, we are pretty much, it's not as much about coming up with new stuff to get into the release, but rather how to best support the devs and the QA testing, and to make any little adjustments or pivots necessary in order to make sure that the launch is successful. So even though there's all the dramatic stuff is out of the way, we are doing that. In addition, we are working on designing out what we intend to release immediately after the 1.5 release. In other words, the stuff that was in the white paper but didn't quite make the initial release, and we kind of touched on those things like the prefix titles, the AMM market for grain and DEC, the little fragments, the totem fragments you find that you might get now and then, and how to best combine them into an actual working, magical, beautiful totem that you could slot in your work sites. So there's a lot of cool stuff that we're still working on. And as Weirdbeard also touched upon, land is one of those things that's once it's out of the box, it never goes back in the box. This is an ongoing part of what Splinterlands is. And I keep reinforcing, I keep emphasizing this point. Hopefully, I'll drive it home, in the minds of the players one of these days. But essentially, what we refer to as land, in my head, it's production. This is a land production form of gameplay, an opportunity for people to own a business an online business within the Splinterlands ecosystem. But that essentially, when we say land, in my head, land is so much more than just that production form of gameplay that we're working on now, which will eventually, of course, lead to the crafting of the spell cards.
So what do you think is like, if you guys, I guess I have two parts. So for right now, we're responding to kind of like devs and saying, hey, as you're actually like finishing all the code, are there any updates that you need from us to go make this stuff work? Are you still getting a lot of that? Have we gotten through most of that? Like how much tweaking are the devs asking for as we get into sort of final implementation?
No, I mean, that's great. I think that we were on, I don't know if it was a call or during the Slack. I think it was our internal Slack messaging group for land. We were going back and forth over the UI specs that were provided, and someone brought up some interesting points, and we went back and forth. And immediately, while I'm hearing this feedback, I'm going into the UI software and trying to make the changes on the fly while we're discussing. And what we ended up with should provide a much better user experience. So it's not like really time-consuming stuff, but there are things that we're working on to try to give a more intuitive, user-friendly flow. So, for example, one of the things we're trying to get done, which we're still working on, I don't know if it'll happen. Maybe the technical challenges with the database and that kind of thing just become too great to bear. But we're trying to, while you're in the slot management screen, and I could share that with folks while we're talking.
Yeah. Well, let's pop it out.
While you're in the slot management screen, and you understand how you get there is you're at the plot level view and you go into this building, one of the work sites you built perhaps, or maybe a keep or castle or whatever building you have on that land, and you go inside, and from there you have the ability to go ahead and manage your slots. What I'm calling, we'll see if a better term is created, but what I'm coining it as the summoning station. Since the battle mage is not present to summon these manifestations, a summoning station created with Riftwatcher technology is what the battle mages are relying on to sustain, to maintain these manifestations so they continue working almost like a computer program. You're programming, you're coding to create a program that does something for you. It's our in the fantasy world, it's our virtual bots. We're just never going to get away from bots, are we? So but anyways, yeah, you go in there, you manage it, and that's the screen you're looking at is a slot management screen. And from that screen, what we ended up adding is 1, 2, 3. The third column is quantity. We're trying to make it so that you don't have to actually go through like 1,000 Pellicore bandits or whatever. We can consolidate all your level ones on one line and just show a quantity. And so I'm really hoping that we can pull that off. But that little tweak was spawned from a discussion, with some back and forth discussion with the devs on how can we do this better. So the more time we have to do that, and the more QA testing we do, and of course we're going to hopefully get the Mavs looped in at some point, get it on the Mav test server so we can get their feedback as well. And all that's going to help us to sculpt a more refined and polished product. So we're pretty excited about that.
All right. So we have, so it sounds like there's tweaks. Is that still happening a lot? Or do you feel like, are we at like a creative freeze on the project, or is there still like more stuff that's coming in?
No, all the major stuff has been submitted. Any tweaks, we're trying to keep those low lift. So if we come across an issue, and so far we haven't, fingers crossed, so hopefully we won't. But if a major challenge presents itself, as the devs are neck deep in the UI specs, and they find like, oh no, this is horrible. Well, what does that entail? Well, that's going to take us that's going to delay everything a month or whatever. That's going to be horrible. Then we're going to be like, okay, well, maybe that needs to hit the cutting room floor rather than make any more delays. Maybe, if it's going to take us another week or two to come up with different UI, then maybe that needs to hit the cutting room floor so there's no delays. And then, of course, we're going to follow up the initial release with with other stuff. So right now the train is full speed ahead. I don't so far I haven't seen any cause for big concern. I know that along the way we were like, Rooney, is Rooney going to make it in? And so far I mean, again, fingers crossed. Hopefully, you see it in the screen. You see a Rooney right there in the first slot. Part of, like, from a UX perspective, part of the things that we were grappling with was the fact that the Rooney is there's 150,000 plots, but currently right now there's like what 3,000 something Rooney in existence.
Yeah.
Which means that essentially if we created a power core slot and then we created a Rooney slot and they were separate slots, then that means that 98% of all the plots would have just an empty slot there. And my OCD kicked in. I was like, I don't like that. And I talked to the devs about it. They were like, yeah, Farm Patrol. I was like, I don't like that either. That kind of sucks. So I was like, okay, how do we make this happen in a way that makes sense that the players would understand? So we ended up with trying to combine into a power slot that includes both a core and a Rooney. So you kind of get something like, here we go. Here's the explanation I kind of gave to the devs as to how that would work. I'll put it in as an image there to kind of step through, like, oh, okay, here's a core with nothing. Here's a slot with the core. Here's a slot with just a Rooney, and here's a slot with both. And some draft. Probably the tooltips are going to be different than what you read there, but it gets the point across. And what's crazy is if you guys don't have a Rooney, I mean, there's not many left on OpenSea, I don't think. I mean, and then you got to keep it in consideration. Once you combine the Rooney, once that functionality becomes available, which we haven't forgotten, guys. I mean, we do intend to follow through with that, which is the ability to take different traits of Rooney, combine them together. The unused traits kind of get burned or tossed to the wind. So essentially that 3,000 something Rooney, once we release that functionality, I wouldn't be surprised if there was 1,000 or less than 1,000 Rooney in existence in the world, which means that those who actually are able to grab Rooney now are definitely going to have the edge. They're going to be able to, and if you read the white paper, you see all the benefits to having a Rooney.
Yeah, there's like 32 or so that are left on the market right now.
Yeah.
So, that is a very small percentage compared to like plot, right? Like if you want your, I'd have to go through the math to go figure out how many occupied and magical plots, but I'm not even sure that every single magical and occupied plot will have a Rooney at this point. I think it's less than that. So
yeah, I mean, once you combine them, I think statistically it came out to like 99.5% of plots will not be not be capable of having Rooney because there just won't be enough Rooney. Only like 0.04 something percent of all plots in existence will be able to have a Rooney once people start combining all those traits, right? So it's pretty nuts, the scarcity.
Yeah. Okay, so those are the things that you're tweaking. What's next on the sort of development list of what we're trying to get out for the creative team for sort of maybe it's called 1.6 or like the second release of 1.5. I don't know what to call it, but what do you like? What's your next priority there of trying to figure out? We want some additional features. We want them to show up quickly. What comes first?
For sure. Let's see. What are some stuff that is coming up? Well, before I get into that, here's one more screenshot for those who own Kingdom Land. You guys might get a kick out of once you get your Rooney and your slot workers and all that, and send them out to become your tax collectors, essentially. Then this is kind of like the interior of what you would see for a Kingdom type building that's collecting on that. So that's pretty cool. I like to always see the benefit of like, the slot management and the Rooney. Well, what's the point? Well, the point is this. Now they're working. Now you can kind of see, the effects of that and what you have to gain from that sort of thing. But to answer your question, I guess I would say right now, currently, I was pretty excited. Eduardo, one of our land devs, just asked me while we're here on the town hall. I just gave him a link to refresh his memory, but he asked for like, hey, Nate, do you have the autofill settings UI, because I would really like to work on that today. And I was like, oh, that is freaking awesome. Hopefully that means that we might be able to get that into the release. No promises again, fingers crossed. We'll see. It's not really the highest priority, but it's something that I was really championing to try to squeeze in if there was any way possible. And it looks like he's going to try to get that to happen. And if you ask me, Nate, well, what the heck is an autofill setting screen? Essentially, it allows you, the user, to create the parameters by which you can just click an autofill button on that slot management page I showed earlier. And that'll take that'll be such a time saver. So if you decide that, well, for the next 30 plots that I drum up on my screen and I want to click that button, I want the system to only look for level 1 to level 5 common and rare cards from the Chaos Legion set. Like you could fine tune those parameters, and then when you click save, every time you click autofill, it'll use those parameters to determine, including when's the last time played. Do you want the card to have been played a week ago, 2 weeks ago, a month ago? And it'll include that in the parameters. So essentially, click autofill, and bloop, it just kind of does its thing. You could see, oh yeah, I'm good with that. And then you click save, and you go on to the next plot, which will be a huge time savers for folks who have like a whole region or a whole tract, and they just kind of like want to make it go a lot faster, right? Other things that we're working on would probably include the let's see, a landing page of sorts, because we know that things are getting complicated real quick. I think it'll be a lot easier once 1.5 release is out, because then people have access to the production overview screen and the region overview screen, both of which are included in the 1.5 release. So you'll be able to see, okay, here's all the information like a dashboard that I can see now. What's missing from that? What are things that feel like pain points that I can't quite get to? And so it'll be great to get all that feedback while we're designing out what that landing page would look like, so that we can better understand what the players' needs are and what they want, and we'll kind of incorporate that into the design as well. Other things would be, and where we point out the prefix titles, we're trying to figure out how to best display the screen. I think we're leaning towards kind of like an achievement type screen, where you're kind of unlocking achievements to gain access to these prefix titles. Because that's going to mean something that's dynamic in real time. Because 1 second you might have access to the title, and the next minute you might not, depending on a whole host of variables, right? Whether you own that castle or keep right now, or do you still own it in 15 minutes? Same thing with how are you on the leaderboards for research? Are you researching more than the guy next to you? And you're going up and down in those rankings. So we'll have to figure out how that's going to work. But that's something we're also working on right now.
Sweet. All right. Is there anything that you feel like is creative blocking the land 1.5 release at all, or do you feel like that's greenlit and good to go from creative's perspective, other than maybe some dev requested tweaks?
No, for those of you guys who like a little sound effects and music and that kind of stuff, I know some of you guys have it muted, or you play your own music in the background. But for those of you who enjoy having a little sound effect, I know Asari has been hard at work making it so that the devs have access to those assets. Whether they make it into the initial release or right afterwards is yet to be seen. But I mean, being able to slot a power core for the first time and hear that bzzz, that little hum of energy, knowing that you're unlocking all the other slots, is like things that make it feel more like a game. Those things are cool to me. Maybe it's cool to some of you guys, but we're working on that. A lot of little aesthetics. So for example, here are, I don't think I've showed this before. This is concept art for what totem fragments might look like based on the different rarities. So we're, I don't know if that's the final art, but essentially, if you click that harvest button and you get your grain or your SPS or your research, once in a while, you have this little tiny percentage of a chance that one of these fragments pop up, which will be exciting. I think they're going to be very valued by those who are, neck deep in land and want to optimize and get the most out of it. The only other thing I could say is, I've really enjoyed what the art teams put together in terms of trying to make this release feel as polished as it possibly can, in the time that we have. I've been blown away by art lead Madi and environment artist Alex and what they've been able to pull off in such a short amount of time. So just to celebrate their accomplishments with you guys, I'll go ahead and drop a whole bunch of wallpapers in, which is just the interiors of the backgrounds. I know you guys have seen this before, but maybe in a limited sense, maybe it's been cropped. I want to show you a little bit more. So this is the shard mine. This is the grain field. This is the research hut. This is if you don't even have a work site yet, it's under construction, right? Well, heck, you got a construction tent. And then, of course, if you own Kingdom Land, then you're likely to see the interior that you kind of saw in a screenshot earlier of what inside of a keeper castle might look like as they're counting their taxes. So I just want to share that with the community. Use those things as you will. Put them on your desktops, using them on your live streams, whatever you want to use them for. We're pretty excited, and we hope you're excited too.
Looks gorgeous. I only have 18 minutes left. I didn't perfectly manage time this time, so I'm going to go do some questions. But Nate, I know that the land is looking gorgeous, and I think that's going to be a big draw. Just like how excited people are to come in. It just making it feel like a game, making it look like a game, making it feel like just immersive. And I think you guys have done an awesome job for that. All right,
yeah.
Let's go pop open some questions. So there's some about the terms of service. And I wasn't the one that worked on this. So when the terms of service gets updated, can the selection change be highlighted to make it obvious that it was changed? I don't know where they're at with that. That may not be a thing that we can do for the release. Regarding point 3 of the term of service ownership and restrictions, does this mean that widely used plugins like Baron's Toolbox and Splitter Tools are now against terms of service? I actually need to go check in with sort of legal on where that is. I don't think that was our intent in doing that, but I wasn't directly doing this one, so I gotta check in with people. Does this mean that Splinterlands TV and giveaways are now against terms of service? Since in an edge interpretation, any streamer has a brand that can benefit from the said giveaways, so they can consider commercial activity.
That's not what commercial activity means. So no, that's somebody who's not a lawyer is reading that and trying to interpret that.
Was our intent to ban Baron's Toolbox and Splinter Tools?
No, again, like we need to make sure that the reading and interpretation is backed up by a lawyer, so I cannot just answer, even though I have been contacted by Axler Twinblade. But it is not the intention of what Baron's Toolbox is doing to be, again, like the way that it's worded. I don't believe that it currently removes that.
All right, Human League.
Hold on. What's up?
I was part of these discussions. It was an intentional choice not to highlight what was changed.
Yes.
In the terms of service, because that's an industry standard, because you need to read the full terms of service you're agreeing to. And by highlighting only specific sections, it gives them undue importance. For the second one, that has always been in the terms of service. We have that there, so we have a legal standing for taking down scam sites or going after people making a profit using like our game art in their own game. We have not used that to take down like people building stuff for our game or posting, blog posts about the game with images in it. But that's been in the terms of service for the past few years. Neither of those are new sections.
Yeah, I've always stood behind, like, if you're just out there doing content creation, it's fine to use this stuff. Just like if you were trying to make a competing card game using like Rooney, no, well, that's going to be a like takedown request because that's violating us. But if you're just like creating content or even mini games within Splinterlands or other things, like generally we're pretty open to this stuff. Human League will be also a human versus human league in Wild. So we'll see what the players do, and we'll see if that's successful or not. Land. When are we going to be able to transfer grain between accounts? And when will Land 2.0 be released? Is that your focus?
I don't even want to talk about Land 2.0. We have not released Land 1.5. There's no discussion about Land 2.0 at this time.
I will say that I mean transferring of grain that was a UI we submitted quite a bit ago. As far as I'm aware, being able to transfer grain should be something in 1.5. Now, again, just like everything else, I'd be like, we haven't quite yet determined what might hit the cutting room floor because we're literally neck deep in making it and testing it. And once we test it, we might say, well, that's not going to make it in. But I can at least say that the UI is there. I mean, here's the UI right here for grain transfer. I guess we'll see if that makes it in or not.
Yeah, that's part of 1.5, isn't it?
Correct.
Yeah. So when the answer to when is August. And then when will Land 2.0 be released? Land 2.0 is going to be another giant update. It's not like, an extra page to the white paper. It is a freaking white paper of its own. So Land 2.0 is going to be a monster, and it's going to be quarters of work, not a sprint or two. So
And if I could, I'm going to stand on my soapbox for a moment. I really do not like people already hounding another new product before we've even released the one that we've been working on for quite a while. If people are interested in good quality products, you need to understand A, it takes time to make, but B, like screaming when all the time is not how it works. And in fact, it incentivizes worse products to go out the door because we have people screaming all the time of, hey, you just released this massive project last week. When's the next one coming out? Like, guys, I promise we're working quickly, but the more you scream about getting things out faster, it's like quality. It's quality, price, and speed. You get to pick two of them. So, like when people are always trying to push faster, it not only becomes more expensive, but it also makes it a worse product. And I just really want to caution and remind people that that's how it works.
SPS, is there still a plan for players to be able to stake SPS on other players for a share of the SPS reward pool? Yes. When is that coming? I don't know, but that's once Land 1.5 is out, that's one of the things that's on the list. Soul Keep, what's going on with Soul Keep? We gave an update that it's coming. It is probably time to start working on just sort of sharing posts about it and sort of summarizing some details so that folks know what's coming. But Soul Keep is not going to stay in the ether forever. Feedback and suggestions for future reference. Could we please preview a list of town hall guests posted for the community? It will vastly assist us in targeting of questions. Well, that's sort of what the table of contents is for. I don't know that we can do that before the show starts, but Ron, please take note. The repair skill is so annoying. I want a skill that prohibits repairing armor, just like affliction restrains heal. Can the team add a corresponding skill? Yeah, that sounds like a neat skill. We should put that in. Can we make it so that extra gold and alchemy potions can be combined to make power and bloodstones? That sounds like a really limited use case, and the number of I don't know, probably not. That it's just we have things like land to do, and I'm not going to spend the time on that. After a monster uses rebirth or resurrect, can the respective icon be taken out of the card or put some visual indicator to know it has been used? That's a good suggestion. We can put that with the backlog. I really like the new lore published legally, but do you think creative team could bring that up a level? WoW lore is maybe something that could be taken as a guideline. Yep. Blizzard is a multi-billion-dollar company. They are certainly able to go do some things that we can't as a company. But
well, I will say, here's a link to the Toma Chaos, which I like to think, even though we haven't been doing them recently, I feel like the guy who made the comment may not be aware that exists, that we went through like a weekly stories that were YouTube videos that had motion graphics, professionally voice narrated. It's pretty cool. So if you want to, dig up on what's the storyline and the overall narrative before Rebellion, then I would highly recommend it. And then for the other thing that they just brought up about the weekly lore that is being introduced, I'll drop that in here. This is the most recent one. Oh wait, all I did was put in the same one. Let me. Where is it? There's that. There's that. Here we go. Okay. Nope, that's not it. Huh. All right. Well, maybe sorry. You can help me with the link because it's not really cooperating with me. Oh, there we go. Okay, I got it. Here is a link to the lore that is currently being released, and that lore gets into the splinters, the geopolitical factions of Praetoria, and I think that to me that's key because a lot of people might ignore the lore, but ultimately I like to think that what we're doing is we're world building. And we're world building with the sense that we're giving the community the tools. Because after the layoffs, yes, we got cut back a little bit. We couldn't do the weekly stories like we wanted to all the time. But what we could do is take the narrative designers we did have and say, look, if we can't make the stories, how can we provide the community the tools to understand the world the same way that we do? And that's what these new articles are trying to do, is to give you insight into the workings of the kingdoms, the cultures, who they are, what the religions are, all that stuff, so that ultimately someday, like right now in MavShout, I see that all this discussion about the DAO is very financial, very DeFi. What's the participation in the liquidity pools, things like that. I envision a day someday where the DAO is like, saying, hey, how can we monetize what we're doing by contributing to the ecosystem, by hiring devs to make new games that fit within the greater Splinterlands ecosystem and find ways to monetize that, but they can do that more seamlessly, more cohesively with what we're doing if they have the tools. We're giving you guys the tools. Here's how our world works. Here's the people in it. If you go to the lore tabs within the game, there's lots of storytelling there as well. We just want to make sure that we have a strong foundation with which to take off. And I think that's what this is doing.
Next up, a long time ago, it was discussed to implement choosing the card level by sending a card to the battle. There are situations where lower cards would be the better choice. There's also no chance to choose a 1 BCX Gold Foil Summoner in the Bronze League if you have a higher level regular one in your collection. When will we see the feature of new card selections?
I mean, add it to the list. There's, again, only so many things we're able to get out right now. Land 1.5 is our main focus. We'd like to be able to get to items like that in the near future.
Can the SBS staking rewards calculator be tweaked so that rewards don't go down by increasing rating? I earn significantly less reward shares at 1900 rating than I do at 1500, so I'm incentivized to lose in order to lower my rating. Adding more value to rating and the formula would be a relatively easy fix. That's a good question for Matt when he's on. Let's go send that to him. Will Splinterlands ever get involved with the Sandbox Metaverse? Yeah, we talk with them from time to time. We accept sand in the universe. We own some land in the Sandbox Metaverse. So, those are good bull market things to consider. Is the plan with items and spells to mint real transferable cards, not soulbound cards, or is it chance spells and items may end up getting the reward card treatment? The intent is definitely to go mint real transferable cards. I don't want to say that there will be no soulbound cards. I think it could be good to have some soulbound cards that only certain people can get and that are not available to everybody and not transferable. So I don't want to say no to soulbound cards, but the bulk of what we intend is to go mint real transferable cards. We have 5 minutes for questions. If you guys want to go pop in, a handful of questions, we can start and stop basically right away. I can go answer, 5 minutes of questions and then we'll call it there. I see one from Gathering the Magic. Will token fragments be tradable? And will you be able to find, that's popping up. Will you be able to find power source fragments on land? Would be kind of cool to eventually get a power core by working your land. I don't think power core is going to be something that you can just find. I don't think that they're going to be initially tradable. And we'll see if we want to make them tradable. The totems I think will be tradable. I don't know if we're going to do that with fragments. Weirdbeard, do you know?
At this time, I wouldn't be able to comment.
All right. Question: any news for Puzzle Master, owner of the role, like title and game, or in general, a new puzzle incoming when Land 1.5 is releasing? That's a chatter question. Let's go see what it looks like when chatter's there. What is the Soulkeep title and will it work on land? Has the decision to make alpha and beta set been confirmed yet? If not, can you speak to the holdups? Will current potions work with Soulkeep? Can we get double coconut on the next town hall? who is going to maintain the code after release? That's like a ton of questions. I don't think that the Soul Keep title has been determined. Will it work on land? Yeah, I think it is very likely to. Has a decision to make alpha and beta set been confirmed yet? I'm interested in doing it, but I don't have every confirmation that I need, so still trying to figure that out. If not, can you speak to the holdup? Yeah, just basically trying to determine how much work that is. So I don't know. Just like the complexities of doing that in a third-party game. Can we get double coconut on the next town hall? We can see about that. I don't know if I will try to get them on a town hall in August. I don't know if it'll be the next one. And then who is going to maintain the code after release? That's us. Question, moving all the bots in the wild has made a big incentive switch to modern. Lots of people are switching for that reason, as well as bot accounts switching to wild. But I'm discovering that the energy systems we switched 2 months back makes it very difficult to switch from 0 in order to get through novice and bronze. If I want extra energy, I have to pay for gold energy in order to get extra matches in novice. This seems to be a leak in the system. Obviously, there isn't a way to get this done quickly while land is prioritized, but could we come up with a solution to make this more intuitive, easy to switch between leagues? Seems like disincentivizing people from buying extra energy is bad for everyone. I think that's that's like a temporary problem, because once this season ends and the next season begins, I don't think that should keep happening. So that sounds like a 2-week problem. Question, how titles reward boost will work on land. If I have 5 plots and 1 title, the boost this title give applied to all my 5 plots or to 1 plot? Just
One
to the
plot.
one. Just one. When will the current soulbound reward cards end print, and when will they be unlockable immediately after? That's a great question. I don't think that we have an end date just yet, but I don't know. Look back at the original post, because it gave a timeline for how long we were thinking that those would last. Question, where we have 2 more minutes. If I transfer my land to someone else, or someone else transfers it to me, will it keep the power source? What happens to the stacked cards? It will keep the power source, is my understanding. And then what happens to the stacked cards? Or staked. I think you mean staked. I imagine that you're going to have to unstake before you can put that on the market. Right? Is that?
I think so, but I don't want to speak out of turn.
Yeah, but we'll follow up on that. Follow-up question, would the land still have all the DEC upgrades? If I transfer my land to someone else, well, you stake DEC into the region, so the DEC doesn't like tie to one specific piece of land. So if you move it to somebody else, there's no DEC that's traveling with it. And those are the questions that we can answer today. So all right, so let's go. We have a big August in front of us. This is, we call it Dev Valhalla. This is certainly crunch time, and we're going to try to get out everything that we can and do it as safely and smartly as we can. And I don't know, just reminding everybody, I'm going to be personally moving a whole bunch of assets around in preparation for land. You might want to be doing that as well. Anything else you want to add there as a final sign off, Weirdbeard?
Thanks for being here. This is the best job in the world.
Woohoo! All right, guys. Appreciate it. We'll see you next week with the town square, and in 2 weeks we'll be back with a town hall. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
When chaos reigns and hope is lost, when your darkest days aren't saved by the dawn, we bring the light to help guide the way. We are with you. We are the Rift Watchers.